Lance by Chance. The untold story of him wrestling as a Von Erich. LanceByChance.com.
Fans, welcome back for Working Fans Wednesday, episode 25. I will be joined shortly by the man called Dave and AJ Strangebrew, and we're going to do a live 5-3-1 on top Wrestlemania main events in honor of this last weekend being WrestleMania 37. Now, we will also be covering tonight's MLW and AEW cards. Now, you can find us on social media in addition to the ones listed there. On Twitch, we are Fans Working. Our email is workingfanswrestlingpod@gmail.com. Our YouTube is youtube.com/c/workingfanswrestlingpod. Our website, workingfanspodcast.com. Now, our podcast schedule is our comedy podcast releases every Tuesday. Wrestling releases every Thursday. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Cast, any major podcast provider. The important thing to remember, please, is to like, rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen to us.
Get the Lambo car, house in the hills with the stars. Told you I'd raise the bar, told you that I'd go far. Baby, it's crystal clear. I'm not a souvenir. I'm not an accessory. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now.
Now, as always, we're brought to you by a variety of sponsors. First, 482 Designs. That's FOUR82designs@gmail.com. Email them for any of your screen printing needs. You've seen the shirts and the stickers that we sell that they put out. WrestleTopia, at WrestleTopia on Twitter and WrestleTopia on Facebook. Like I said last night, great G-Drive sales. You've seen JD Sloan on the show before. Now, you know Dave and I are the commentators for Knockout Wrestling, and AJ is hosting the Knockout podcast coming up soon, Knockout Rewind. Also, Lance by Chance, you saw the commercial at the top of the show. That is how Kevin Vaughn became Lance Von Erich and then Lance Vaughn. Written by Vinnie Barry and Lance Vaughn, tells the story of his life before wrestling, how he got into the business, and the wild life that he has lived since then. It is an amazing book. Wrestling fans and non-wrestling fans alike will love this. Now, last but not least, we are brought to you by The Buzz. That is our podcast network, our podcast family, if you will. I'm going to play a quick commercial showing the variety of live shows in addition to ours that they offer. And when that is done, we will bring the guys in and we will talk top WrestleMania main events.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute it's chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you don't know what this court means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. first step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by your locksmith. On the block, throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look, with the top dish. Tie game, through the pressure as the clock.
Guys,
Ooh.
we survived WrestleMania weekend. How are you guys doing today?
Go ahead, AJ.
Dude, I'm on fire. It was a hot weekend of action all weekend long between WrestleMania, between all the independent wrestling throughout it, blood sport. My God, my God, my God. It
That's
is a
what was
great
happening at
time
his
to be
house
alive.
last weekend, too, between him and his wife.
Now, guys, if you want to hear our opinions on WrestleMania weekend, you're going to have to listen to not only tomorrow's podcast where AJ and Dave sit down with comedian Pat Oates and discuss WrestleMania weekend.
AJ will be there for the first few minutes.
he was there for part of it.
Yeah, not only did he run away from his wife, he also ran away from his job. We found out, but
there is also
going to find out.
There's going to be a bonus episode the next day where Dave and I sit down and talk about a lot more of the independent shows that happened and kind of like my journey through what I watched. But tonight,
more of a guy.
We are here to talk top WrestleMania main events of all time.
Oh, I'm fired up for this one. I've been waiting for it, chomping at the bit. I can't wait to destroy the fact that everybody's going to say Hogan versus Warrior.
I don't have that
How
one
easy was this? Oh, wow, I do.
Where's Randy at? Did he give you a list?
He did not give me a list. I assume he's going to pop up in the comments any second now, but I'll go first because for me, this list was, I thought, really easy to write because I had Hogan versus Andre, WrestleMania 3, Hogan Warrior, WrestleMania 6, Hart Michaels, WrestleMania 12, Triple H, Benoit Michaels, WrestleMania 20, and Orton Batista Bryan, WrestleMania 30.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good list. That's really solid, except for the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan.
See, Hogan Andre and Hogan Warrior, I had to put on there because of where they are in like my wrestling history. Where even though that Hogan Warrior match may not live up to good wrestling standards, it was a spectacle, and I can remember going to like the video store and wanting to get that tape by seeing just the cover. So that and the Andre, there's Randy. I knew he'd be here eventually.
Well, I got to tell you, that match actually meant a lot to me also. But the reason why it meant a lot to me was because it showed me what style of wrestling I never, ever, ever wanted to do.
How old were you when that took place? That was 1990. So you must have been
14.
Nah, yeah, not even. You were about to be 14.
I was about to turn 14. You don't think I was old enough at that point?
Yeah, I don't think you were actually.
You're out of your mind. You know how I think.
Well, then you see Triple H, Benoit Michaels near the end of the list with Orton, Batista, Bryan, and there's certainly a better work rate down there.
Once you brought that home, your list was made.
I went with a little bit different. I went with more just like buzzworthy. So Austin and Rock, WrestleMania 17. Headlines my list. One of the greatest builds. He's not wrong. Great build. That Limp Bizkit video back in the day, or My Way. But it was just so good with Austin and Rock, and the sit-down interviews they had with Jim before that, where it just felt so real. I also had to put Austin and Rock from WrestleMania 15 down, just because the match itself was just so damn electric. Philadelphia crowd. I actually remember watching that with AJ at one of his dad's house in Norwich, maybe at the time. But
yeah, I believe so.
Super. Yeah, I think we watched that in the late hours by the time we got home. Taker HBK in terms of match quality. Sean's career on the line. I did not remember what Mania that was, but one of the earlier Manias, the one in Texas. Such a back and forth match. I had to put that one down. Hogan Andre WrestleMania 3. Similar, like you said, for Warrior, to me, this was just the height of my childhood fandom. Fuck out of here, this guy. And,
oh, yeah.
But Hogan Andre was also big box office. And, hard to not deny that. And then my one really just selfish one I put in there. HBK versus Austin WrestleMania 14, because, baby, that's where me and AJ went to, Boston Garden. and I wasn't going to put LT and Bam Bam Bigelow there, even though I went to that one as well.
Well, for my list, Austin and Sean, Mr. HBK are on my list from Boston also because we were at that show.
Damn right.
And with Mike Tyson involved also, the place was going bananas.
Electric crowd.
They were hanging from the rafters.
Absolutely.
I got, believe it or not, The Rock versus John Cena. You can say whatever you want about it, but it did draw the crowd and it did have us electrified when The Rock was in there. Maybe it didn't quite live up to what it should have, but it did deliver box office. So that's a big one for me.
Yep.
Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, streak versus career. That has to be one of the top main events for
One of
me.
the few times a world title match did not close the show.
Triple H versus Shawn Michaels versus Benoit. I still get a little choked up watching it when I can find the footage. And then one that I'm surprised that has not been mentioned, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, the Iron Man match. To me, that showed what a what?
I think
There's number 3 on my list.
There's number 3 on his list.
I'm sorry. He mentioned that one right after Ultimate Warrior and Hogan. So
You were still so fired up about Warrior. You like, fuck
I was so pissed off about the Warrior versus Hogan that I missed hearing his number 3.
You have been anti-Warrior for as long as I've known you.
I am the most anti-Warrior. I know that he's one of Jake St. John, the wonderful author from Griswold, Connecticut. It's one of his top wrestlers of all time.
However, Diamonds available on Amazon right now.
You like how I just slide that right in there. And then my last one that I'm going to talk about is, and I think that this changed the game for women's wrestling, Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair as the main event. I think that it's just completed an evolution, and it's just such a milestone for wrestling that has to be included in there.
I almost want to make me wish I put Belair and Bex just for that moment this weekend. I thought that stole the show.
Yeah, because that really paved the way for that.
Yeah, it did. Now, I do want to add in this because, AJ, it's funny. I'm like the biggest Bret Hart fan here.
Randy wants to break up the tag team here.
WrestleMania 11, baby.
Wow.
Hartford, Connecticut. I remember it well.
I think Joe's going over. Davey Boy Smith has been dead for a while.
It's a podcast mic fight.
I remember I went for the superplex, and as I was going to float over, Joe hooked my leg and got the hit. God, got me again.
Still hasn't gotten over that.
I can't believe Dave still calls his Johnson mic stand.
All right, let's get to the top 3 now. I say it's got to be Hogan, Andre, Undertaker, Michaels, and Hart, Michaels.
That's fine.
Wait a minute. Whoa. We have another one that made multiple lists on there. Triple H, Benoit, and I believe Shawn Michaels made all 3 lists.
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Didn't make all 3.
Which one did it not make?
Didn't make my
I
list.
think Backley brought it up.
My bad.
Well, I mean,
I got to start listening to you guys more.
Well, I mean, HBK and Austin was on multiple lists too, but I'm all right with the Iron Man match making the 3rd in there because the real
Yeah, I know you're all right with that,
I
but
didn't even have it on my list.
but I'm not all right with the Ultimate Warrior and Hogan.
They're not got to be on the list. He didn't mention them. He mentioned Hogan, Andre. Stop doing medicine.
Yeah,
before
Hogan,
you did the show
Andre,
today.
Undertaker, Michaels, Hart, Michaels.
Oh yeah, I'm good with all 3 of those.
Okay, good. Well, we're off the rails tonight, folks. I'll
Let's
tell you
make
what
it
I'm going to
easy.
do right off the bat. I'm going to kick out my favorite wrestler, Bret Hart, because even though Bret has some of my favorite matches of all time, like one of my favorite WrestleMania matches is Bret versus Austin. This main event one was a good one, but it wasn't in my elite favorites. So
The problem is that it just wasn't decisive after 60 minutes in the Iron Man match. Nobody likes the end of that match.
well, I kind of agree with Conrad. I know it's not a popular opinion, but Iron Man matches for the most part, like you kind of know, like until the last 5 minutes, like you're just going to be waiting around. So.
See, but I think that's one that kind of bucks the trend because they're so technical. I'd almost want to watch the whole hour to see what they can fit in there.
I enjoyed the whole hour.
Yeah.
It was the bullshit shenanigans at the end with Gorilla Monsoon and that's the crap that I didn't like.
Gorilla bananas.
All right, so we got Hogan Andre, basically what the match that made WrestleMania versus career versus title, which was one of the modern classics.
Yeah. We didn't put on this list, which is another great match that actually main evented Mania that wasn't for the belt. HBK versus Flair.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Love doing it.
but the reason why I went Taker instead of that one
Mm-hmm.
was because I just thought that Flair was at a point in his career.
We knew what was
where-
happening.
Yeah, and he just couldn't deliver
Right.
the way
With
that
HBK,
they
we
did
actually
with
had a question
Undertaker.
mark. Like, man, HBK can still go. Is he really retiring?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you got 37 years worth of main events and you're picking 5. So there's obviously going to be ones that you're a fan of.
I'll tell you.
That might not make that list.
I'll tell you how I decided this. Let me ask you again. What are we picking tonight? The top WrestleMania matches all time or my favorite?
Top WrestleMania main events.
Top.
It's Hogan Andre.
It's got to be. It's got to be Hogan and Andre.
Yeah.
If it's my favorite of the two, then it would be the other one.
Yeah.
If it's the one that
That
meant the
close.
most to wrestling, Hogan and Andre drew a house that wasn't even touched, even if they were lying about the numbers, not
Mhm.
even close to being touched for
Yeah.
freaking 30 years, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
And
Hulkamania.
it put everything, it put all of wrestling on the map. I know people like to go, oh, WrestleMania put wrestling on the map. WrestleMania didn't. The original WrestleMania sucks. WrestleMania 3, however, put wrestling on the map. And then,
And it looked so giant in that stadium.
Yeah. And I mean, it was such a big moment. Hulk Hogan's still riding off of that today. As all you had to do was watch WrestleMania this weekend, and we still get Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean, if you
that's
think about it, he was in the first 7, all but
First
one.
9.
Yep.
Yeah.
All but
I
one
like-
he main evented, and that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
I like how uncomfortable Hulk Hogan looks around black people.
Looks
I
kind of
like
okay in
that.
that pirate costume, though. He doesn't mind looking a fool.
Dude, night 2, they were booing that motherfucker. Like, they tried to hide it, but that wasn't happening. And then Titus would talk, and they're like, yeah! And then Hogan would talk, boo! I'm like, this does not look good. What a pro
I mean,
Titus
if
was.
they really wanted to prove that Hogan wasn't a racist, they should have had him just come down and raise Bianca Belair's hand as they were putting the belt on her.
It's not going to work for me, brother.
And to answer Backer's question here, I mean, not necessarily, because a lot of times, I mean,
How often was the main event of
always the
WrestleMania not
best
the
match
best
at
match?
Mania. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, Ricky Steamboat and freaking.
you weren't going to get better than Steamboat Savage no matter
Yeah.
what. Anyway, there's no disgrace in that.
But that's my point, is that how often is the match that you remember as the best match on the card? I mean, this year my favorite match is probably Cesaro and freaking wow, what's his name there?
Rollins.
Rollins.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Let's go blank there for a second.
No, you know what? Honestly, for this year, you're right. That's right there. I would say that triple threat match, night 2, was just so well done, so awesome. And I thought had the best action from bell to bell. And then at the same time, I thought.
Yeah, but they
night
ruined
1
it at the end.
What's that?
They ruined it at the end.
What, that double stack pin? Head of the table,
Yeah,
bitch. Know your role.
That's horrible.
Know your damn role. Show some respect on Roman's name. And then night 1 was the most emotional main event. I mean, Bianca just totally like sucked me in. I was ready. And I mean,
No,
sucked
she
me in
did, and they
emotionally.
did put on a great show. I just really enjoyed the Cesaro match.
It was good. And I know
but
you're a
it's-
big Cesaro fan. I am too.
But well, here's the
He
thing. For
owns
me,
Zayn that day.
emotionally, I was drawn into the Cesaro, and I was also emotionally drawn into Bianca Belair's match.
Yeah.
The fact that you could see at the beginning how much that it meant to her
Mhm.
drew us even more in.
Well, you know what? Lance is wrong. He's only one of the greatest minds in fucking wrestling. What does
Lance-
he know?
First of all, Lance Storm is never wrong.
I
the
love
fact-
Lance.
the
I'd like
fact
to
that-
hear his input on it. I'd like
The
to
fact-
find out why he was mad.
The
That
fact
was-
that Lance Storm has never main evented WrestleMania is a disgusting disgrace to the industry.
Well, I guess he said the camera angles gave him headaches, and
Oh,
sometimes
that's
the
what it
camera
was. Yeah.
can be a bit too much.
Okay, I think me and AJ will agree on this. We're not. I mean, there's a lot of people that have that problem. AJ, do you give a shit about the camera angles?
I couldn't give two shits about the camera angles.
That's how I have to. I don't even notice it. Some people don't like it though.
Yeah,
right.
if the wrestling's on fire, I couldn't give two shits about the camera angle.
Ooh, this wrestling's on fire.
First of all, nobody's done good camera angles since World Class Championship Wrestling.
Nobody. Since Fritz was in there getting those upskirt shots of Precious.
All right, so now we'll move on from WrestleMania talk because it was a full weekend, and NXT has moved to Tuesdays, so it has kind of changed the shape of our Wednesday night shows. Previously, we'd cover NXT, AEW, MLW.
Then, now, forever.
I'm still gonna watch.
Forever
I'm still gonna watch AEW first.
Shut up.
I'm actually taping the Tuesday NXT and watching it after AEW.
You are not. You just
Nice.
said it.
Well,
asshole.
I'm gonna start with MLW because to me, I think this card is fire tonight. You
Oh,
have
absolutely.
Hammerstone versus Mil Muertes for the National Openweight Championship. That's going to be two bruisers going in there, real hoss fight.
I blacked out for a second. I thought you were going to say Mill Massacres. I'm like, he's back. Uh-oh. Sorry,
You got
Hammer.
Los
job.
No,
Parks.
no yob.
You got Los Parks versus Dirty Blondes for the MLW Tag Championship.
Ooh.
Dirty Blondes were featured a lot earlier on in the MLW run.
Right.
I really liked them, and now I'm glad to see they're returning. They're not going to win, but it's going to be good. And a feud that's been building since MLW's returned with new footage is Richard Holiday versus Gino Medina, and they're putting the Caribbean Championship on the line.
I'm Richard Holiday all the way. Love that
That's
guy.
going to be a great match. That's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be action throughout.
Former guest of the show, Richard Holiday.
Damn right.
Now, Myron Reed is also going to speak exclusively as he continues to pressure Leo Rush for a title opportunity. And the segment that I'm most interested in, cameras are going to journey to Hawaii because Kevin Von Erich is going to present Ross and Marshall with the opportunity of a lifetime.
Oh, what that is?
Six-man
We don't
tag.
Wow, that could be awesome.
I mean, I'm hoping, but that's not definite.
That's not weird. I don't know how you present it. I want to present you with the opportunity of a lifetime.
We've
The
got a
team
chance.
with me, my sons.
We've got a chance, guys. We're going to go to Dallas and rebuild the Sportatorium.
Brick by brick, fellas.
Here's your shovels. Let's go.
I don't know about that. I think Gargano is just something to answer back in the comments there. Is Gargano and Cross being kept far away from each other for as long as possible? I don't know. I do like the idea of that match. Obviously, Cross would be the face right now. Yeah, I feel like Gargano's just doing a separate thing here, kind of keeping the mid-card going with that.
Okay.
This.
I hate the fact that we're talking about Gargano and Cross when we could be talking about Index. Indy Hartwell and Dexter Loomis.
Oh
I mean, if that's not the best couple in wrestling, Index, I don't know who is.
Now, Randy, fan of the show, turned us on to Amber Nova. We got her on the show. She was on Dark last night. She is on AEW tonight. And that is a perfect time to move to the AEW card. Anthony Ogogo is going to make his debut, British boxer.
Is he wrestling Nova?
No. I don't know who.
I don't feel like that's going to go well for Amber Nova.
Chris Statlander actually has a match with Amber Nova, and I'm excited for that. That's going to be something. Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet.
Yeah.
The singles match we've all been waiting for.
Oh,
Darby Allin versus Matt Hardy for the TNT Championship.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know if you guys saw on Being the Elite this week, but Matt Hardy had a big thing where he talked about being the older wrestler, how it's been pointed out to him for Darby Allin, and he basically talked about, well, get ready because what's it going to look like when you lose to this older wrestler? And this old washed up wrestler. And I thought that was actually a pretty good line on Being the Elite this week by Matt Hardy. By the way, RIP and our condolences, obviously, to Matt Hardy and the Hardy family losing their father this week to his battle.
Yeah, definitely. Now, also, we've got Young Bucks versus Pac and Phoenix for the Tag Team Championship.
That's the one I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Really? Because for me, it's Jericho versus Dax Harwood, and it's not because Tyson's the special enforcer. That is a little bit that's not needed, but seeing Dax in there with Jericho, I think we're going to get a pretty good match.
That's going to be great, but I think the Bucks are losing the titles. I think Moxley's going to actually cost the Bucks the titles.
Really?
Ain't happening. Yeah, shit, man. Let me just say this though. I wish you were right, but the Bucks didn't just make a heel turn last week just to get fucking jobbed out this week. I don't think
that was the least decisive heel turn I've ever seen in my life.
This will be Randy's first time watching AEW live since the Shaq match. So
shame on you, Randy.
That means Randy must have been an NXT first watcher.
Yeah,
and
he was.
Randy, this change in programming, does it make it easier now for you to decide which to watch so you don't have to go between the two? Frankly, it's filled up my Tuesday nights because I pay for NWA Power. They had NWA Power Surge last night, which I wasn't crazy about because if you're running the show on YouTube, that's fine. Do like a recap show. I'm paying for the shit. I'm watching it. Like, I don't need to know what happened last week. Like, they gave us one match. They gave a hell of a Pero promo, basically talking about he had to go over to Japan and get his spot.
I watched it.
Of course.
I want to say, actually, I do appreciate this. Pero, May Valentine goes to the Pero, and we want to, how cool was it? You came out at the end of the Saturday with the flag, and you were one of the first openly gay wrestlers. And he's like, yeah, it was great. And then you guys had to go to Japan because I couldn't get on here, and I got to work my ass to get back here. So I was like, he just totally shot it down and was like such a heel. I thought, this is good stuff. So good for him.
I like that.
I
Will
thought it was a
Ospreay
hell of
greater
a
than Kenny
interview.
Omega.
Really?
I actually think Will Ospreay might actually be getting to the point where he is actually better than Kenny Omega. I think the quality of the matches that he's putting on right now and the level that he's risen to, I think that he's second to none right now, Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I wouldn't have predicted him as IWGP heavyweight champion this quickly. I would have said give it like another year or two, but he's been doing a lot for that company.
I don't know if any of you guys took the time to watch that documentary that I told you about.
I did.
I did not.
But if you watch that documentary, you'll get a whole new respect for Will Ospreay. Absolutely phenomenal. And this kid's got such a bright future if he can stay healthy.
By the way, people forgetting this Sunday, Impact Wrestling Rebellion. It's going to be Rich Swann versus Kenny Omega, AEW versus Impact World Title Unification match.
I did forget about that shit.
That's right. So,
yeah, that's
Sunday,
because it's forgettable.
We all know Swan's taking the belt.
Nobody believes that Rich Swann is beating Kenny Omega.
Oh, I can't wait, man. He's gonna hit him with that big old splash.
Rich Swann doesn't believe that Rich Swann's going to beat Kenny Omega
Until he shows up and sees the booking sheet. You're going over, brother.
Rich Swann's mother doesn't believe that Rich Swann's going over Kenny Omega.
I think his mother's dead, actually. I think he lost both his parents when he was young.
Kenny?
Because she didn't want to see him not win the title.
Kenny's like, I'm retiring, Don. I don't want anyone to know about it. I'm dropping the belt to Rich Swann here tonight. And then you're going to be shocked. We have to look at the AEW next week where Rich Swann's coming out with both belts.
Ooh, Spin Juice versus the Good Brother.
That's right. That's also the Sunday.
That actually, believe it or not, more entertaining of a match for me than the main event.
I mean, that's a foregone conclusion. Good Brothers getting their tag belts back. That's Swann Omega, though. I think Swann inside cradle. We got it.
Guys, hold on a second. I got breaking news here for you.
Oh, good.
This one's going out to Randy Osga. I don't know why you spoiled this for everyone. We are working on a documentary. Joe is filming it. Dave's doing the commentary. And we will be doing the life of AJ Strangebrew. Oh, yeah. So thank you for bringing that up, Randy Osga.
It's just going to be a lot of videos of AJ's wife yelling at him.
You're going to see me do the job a lot.
Never was.
And Randy, that's how your heroes fall. But join us next week. And Randy made a suggestion earlier. How about we do top Starrcade main events next week?
Absolutely.
You know it's going to be at the top of my list.
Kiss my ass with that Flair Race 83 shit.
Well, guys,
all I know is we'll never be able to beat the mighty Gene Kiniski.
All right. Well, guys, we will join you again next week and have a good one.